So the first week is in the books for Coach Prime in Colorado, and what a week it was. We saw Coach Prime land a 5-star wide receiver in the class of 2025. We saw Coach Prime flip a 4-star running back that had previously been committed to Notre Dame. We saw him get active in the transfer portal and make extremely great coaching hires. And today, that's where we need to turn our attention to. Because Coach Prime in Colorado made a coaching hire that's largely flying under the radar, but today, that's got to change. Because Nick Williams is a name that the average college football fan may not know a whole lot about now, but make no mistake, in the coming years, he's going to be a big name. And this is a slam dunk hire by Coach Prime in Colorado. We need to jump right into it. Before we can, as always, y'all know the drill. I need to hear from you. Hop down to the comments, give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Are you surprised that Coach Prime was able to land Nick Williams as the defensive line coach? Let me know what you're thinking. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Hit that bell notification. I do constant college football content. You don't want to miss any of it. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to like, comment down below. Those interactions seem small, but they are really massive to content creators such as myself in both getting picked up and maintained by the YouTube algorithm. But having said all that, let's jump right into this. And we talked very briefly about Nick Williams Thursday, Friday, and especially on the live stream on Friday. But today, we need to do a deeper dive because whenever I look around, this is a name that's not getting a whole lot of press because Nick Williams, in my opinion, was a slam dunk hire by Coach Prime. And whenever we look at the staff that Coach Prime is assembling at Colorado, it is noteworthy. And we've talked about several of the hires he's made, but now we need to give our undivided attention to Nick Williams. So who is Nick Williams? Well, Nick Williams began his playing career at the University of Georgia, where he played as both a defensive back and a linebacker. From there, he made the move from player to graduate assistant. And it did not take long for him to start proving how valuable he was as a recruiter, because this dude is an ace recruiter. Kirby Smart and the Dogs instantly put him on some of the largest battles they had. Battles including Bear Alexander, the 5-star defensive lineman, Smoke Bowie, Keely Ringo, the 5-star defensive back, Lewis Sine. This is a guy that was moving the needle for Coach Smart and the Dogs. He's someone who's able to foster positive relationships. And whenever we're talking about college football, and especially recruiting, this is a game of relationships. It's a game of, can you put faith in me to develop your child and get them to the next level? Whether that's the NFL or the next level as a man in life, that's your job as a coach. So being able to foster those positive relationships, it's paramount. And Nick Williams, though young, is able to do it. And I've talked about this before. I think a lot of these younger coaches can relate to these guys a lot easier than some of the older guys, so it might make that transition, it might make fostering these relationships a bit easier. Regardless, Nick Williams is someone who fosters them and does so quite successfully. In May of 2021, though, Nick Williams' time at Georgia came to an end, and he made the move from the Georgia Bulldogs to Texas A&M, where interestingly enough, some of the guys that he'd recruited to Georgia made that move with him, which goes to show you how positive the relationships he was able to foster were. That they put faith in him over an institution such as Georgia, and we know what a factory, what a machine Kirby Smart has those Dogs as. You go there, you get developed, and like Alabama, you find your way to the NFL, but yet recruits were putting their faith in Nick Williams because of the relationships he was able to foster, because of what a great recruiter he was. And one thing interesting to note, whenever he got to Texas A&M, instantly he hit the ground running. Huge name guys such as the #1 defensive tackle in his respective class, Walter Nolan from the state of Tennessee, who Nick Williams and the Aggies were able to successfully land. And Walter Nolan was courted by everyone. And I do mean everyone. Nick Saban, Georgia, you name it, they came after the very talented 5-star defensive tackle, yet it was Texas A&M that got the win. And that wasn't the only notable win that Nick Williams got while at Texas A&M. Another big-name defensive lineman, David Hicks Jr., in the class of 2023, 5-star defensive lineman, top 10 player in all of high school football. Nick Williams was in on that battle as well. So I bring all of this attention so you know this is a name that may not be a household name in college football circles yet, but give it time. He absolutely will be. He has been utilized as an ace recruiter at some of the biggest institutions in college football. And one thing we need to know is that whenever he got to Texas A&M, that's the year that Texas A&M landed the highest rated recruiting class of all time per the modern era of rankings. Now, am I saying that's solely because of Nick Williams? No. That Texas A&M staff had a lot of really solid recruiters, but it certainly helped that they had a guy who's considered an ace recruiter on that staff as an analyst being able to help lock down some of these battles. We've talked about this staff before. I did a whole video on Charles Kelly and talked about, one, not only is he a great recruiter, but look at the states he's been in: Alabama, Georgia, and Florida, some of the most fertile recruiting grounds in the entirety of the nation. Now you double down, add in Nick Williams, who has Texas and Georgia in his back pocket in terms of recruiting. Plus, the guy at the helm of this is Coach Prime, who can walk into any living room in the nation and instantly move the needle. Oh yeah, by the way, he's probably going to have Florida on lock. And we've talked about this before, what a talent-rich state Florida is. So is Nick Williams a great hire? Yeah. Nick Williams was a slam dunk hire. This was a guy that before he was ever an on-field coach was locking down 5 stars. And you hear about names such as this, and you know that's a guy that's going to be a star in college football. Luckily enough, this year in the Pac, we have a few examples of this. Nick Williams at Colorado is a name, guys, you have got to know. Brian Carrington out of Arizona State, fantastic hire by the Sun Devils and Kenny Dillingham. But they doubled down, the Sun Devils did, and got Rashad Samples, another fantastic hire. These young coaches, they're coming into college football and they're making their presence felt. I can't wait to see what Nick Williams, what Colorado, and certainly what Coach Prime do next. We're going to talk about some of the transfer portal wins they got this weekend and some names you need to look out for in a video coming out today. Be on the lookout for that. Can't wait to hear from you. Hop down to the comments. Let me know what you're thinking about Nick Williams. That's it. See you.